Good evening. I'm Chanel, vehicle title expert and owner of Wisdom and Authority Title Solutions. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Tonight, I will be talking about trading in your vehicle to the dealership. I will cover some very important tidbits to keep in mind when you are making your trade. I will share what you should be bringing to the dealership during your trade. I will cover the process briefly. I will also cover mishaps that can occur if you do not comply with the conditions that the dealership set forth when you are trading in your vehicle. So when you are trading in your vehicle, be sure that you bring your title. The title's in your name. I understand that may sound like common sense, which it should, but in this line of work, in this business, I see a lot of different things pertaining to titles. So I do see cases in which people do not have the title in question when they are trying to trade in the vehicle. The good news about that, though, is sometimes the dealership will give you a little bit of leeway pertaining to that title not being provided at the time of the trade, which falls under the condition process I will share in a few moments. But you want to have the certificate of title. Also, if you have the title, but there is a lien still showing on your title, you want to make sure you have a letter of lien release. That letter of lien release will show the dealership that you have in fact satisfied that loan that you had on the vehicle. Moving forward, when it comes to the process of the trade, first off, your dealership is going to give you that appraisal or the value of the vehicle at the time of trade. Number one. Number two, the dealership is going to ask you to render them power of attorney or POA so they can sign off on the title or supporting documentation on your behalf to get the transaction completed accordingly. Another piece of information during this process is going to be the conditions the dealer set forth. So even though the dealership has given you a value for your vehicle, that value is only if you meet the certain conditions and you do so within a certain time frame. Okay, keeping that in mind, the dealer want you to provide them with that title. If you don't have that title, you are to relinquish the title within a certain amount of time. It might be 7 days, it might be 10 days. In the event you do not do that, then you will end up paying the dealership what they paid you for that trade. So if that trade value was $5,000 and you don't comply and give them that title in question, you will be owing them that amount that they gave you in turn. You want to also make sure you are giving the dealership a title that is in your name. Once again, I know this sounds like common sense, but things do happen. I recall a few months ago, my team and I, we were working on a transaction in which the customer had acquired a vehicle from her grandma. She was purchasing a vehicle as well, but that trade-in actually interrupted her transaction because, come to find out, she did not get that title from her grandma retitled in her name. So she passed it along to the dealership, and when it was time for us to process her transaction, she did not get her trade credit because the vehicle in question was not titled in her name. Now, sometimes dealerships do not complete a title trial right away. They will find this out later on, in the process. Unfortunately, it could be too late. So when it's time to go through DMV, DMV will advise, this, title is not in the customer's name, so no trade credit applies here. So what ends up happening is the customer, a lot of times, will end up paying more in sales tax than what they had hoped for. And sometimes the dealership may not collect enough sales tax, so they have to go back to the customer in the event this type of scenario unfolds. So keep these little tidbits in mind when you are making a trade in at the dealership in question, because you do not want surprises at the end, or you do not want to end up paying more in taxes than you have to. If you have any questions or concerns about the trading process, please drop me a line. I look forward to hearing from you guys on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Please click share, subscribe below. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you for tuning in.